once again to all you wonderful boys and girls. Back at it again with another episode of the Fantasy Simpletons, a Fantasy Football Show. I am your host, Kyle Fridlin. Joining me, as always, is my co-host and brother, Jake Fridlin.
Yo, yo.
What up, what up, what up?
How's it going?
Oh, it's going good, man. We are a quarter of the way through the season. So it's time to have a little fun. Time to do something that's a little unconventional, a little different. We're going to do a little Would You Rather segment. It's going to be as simple as it sounds. You're going to be given two possible options. They could be strictly about fantasy football players or just anything about fantasy football in general. And we're going to have to pick between the two sides.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Also, just letting everybody know out there, we are trying to get to 100 subscribers. We have a goal set in mind of around week 8. That's close to the midpoint of the season. So if you watch this video and you like this video, or if you've seen any of our other videos and like those, please support us. Give us a subscribe. Help out the passion project of a couple of brothers that love fantasy football.
Yeah. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, we're trying to see how much we can grow. And it might be a bigger goal, but we're seeing how this is getting to a certain place. So anybody, just, if you want. Just if you want.
Yeah, if you like the content. But without further ado, I say let's get into it, man.
Yeah, let's get right into it. Our first question here is, these are rest of seasons. Which player would you rather have for the rest of the season? Tetairoa McMillan or Emeka Egbuka?
Dang.
All right.
That's a good question.
It is a good question.
Who came up with that one? Oh, wait.
I have thought about this question, not too much because we wanted to have a bit of a fresh take going into this. I think I have a person in mind. I think I know who I want it to be.
Yeah, I think I do too.
Yeah.
So you go first. I want to hear what you think.
Okay. After thinking about it for some time, I actually think I would rather have Tetairoa McMillan.
Whoa, dang.
And the reason I think that, even though the Panthers' offense has not been the best, and that's just putting it lightly, it's been pretty bad all around. But there are a couple consistencies with that offense. There are two players that are pretty consistent week in and week out, and Tetairoa McMillan is one of those players. Now, he hasn't quite hit that ceiling yet. He has yet to have a touchdown this season. He has yet to have like a massive breakout game. But every game, he gets a lot of targets. He's their main receiver, undisputedly. He has around 4, 5, 6 catches a game, 60 to 100 yards. And I am someone that values consistency. I like consistent players that can get me chunks. But I would like to see that high at some point.
Dang. I guess. No, I could see where you're coming from there. I'm not going to lie. Like there's no competition for him really on the team. Like he's the clear-cut number one, and he will be for a while. Even if they don't have Bryce Young, right? Like Emeka Egbuka will most likely be there.
Yeah, you Tetairoa McMillan?
I mean, sorry, Tetairoa McMillan.
Yeah. Well, actually, do you agree with me, or do you think Egbuka instead of Tet?
Well, I was just about to get there. So I think while I agree that Tet is long-term, has long-term potential, I think it's all about how you look at it, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're talking rest of season, right? We're not talking years in the future. And I'm thinking rest of season, Emeka Egbuka should be the guy that he'd be the guy that I would take personally. And I just think it's because he's obviously he's in a role now with guys out, I think Chris Godwin just came back, right? This last game, or he's coming
Chris
back.
Godwin surprised me. I thought he would be out for just a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I heard some reports, but I thought, he's not coming back this week though. He did, and he looked solid.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think everyone was afraid that he was going to steal targets away. So I'm saying I didn't even notice that he was gone because Emeka got 10 targets. I didn't notice. I didn't notice that Chris Godwin was back. Okay.
Yeah.
Because Egbuka got 10 targets. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I think that Emeka has established himself in a role this season where they're going to continue to use him. And I think he's going to kind of potentially transition out some of these older guys like Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, because he really is the future. If you look at him, Emeka is the future. Jayden McMillan, I think, is the future. Just given that, the age gaps and the injury history between, Emeka and Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. But that's just what I think. So it's interesting that we have different takes. I could see arguments for both sides, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the only thing that kept me off Egbuka is because I still haven't seen what it looks like with all the receivers back yet. That's the only thing that keeps me away from it. And Egbuka, actually, he got a lot of the yardage. He had a big 77-yard touchdown grab in this last big game. But he had a total of, 101 yards off of everything in total. It's just one of those things where I think he's been super, super good through the first 4 weeks. But if we're just talking about the rest of this season, where it is right now, I don't know. I just think that Tet might barely beat him out at the end. But it's going to be close.
Yeah. No, I could see it being really close.
Yeah.
I guess one of the main things that I was thinking too, to just finalize my thoughts here, are that the difference in teams, right? The Buccaneers have Baker Mayfield, and he is he's just a passing threat. Okay. Not that Bryce Young isn't, but Baker just passes a lot more in comparison to Bryce Young. And on top of that, their team is more competitive. I don't know. I just think that Baker's a better quarterback than Bryce Young, to put it simply. He's not as much of a rushing threat, so he's going to throw it more than Bryce. And for that reason, I like Emeka Egbuka, even with the other people in the role beside him, like maybe cutting into his target share down the season. I think that's what sets, the Buccaneers wideout group aside from Carolina's.
Yeah. So. No. There's a huge difference in talent and depth between the both teams. No, but I can totally see it. I think by the end of the season, they're going to be pretty close to each other, neck and neck.
I guess, let me ask you this, though, real quick. Why do you think Tet is going to be the guy? I mean, he is the guy on their team, but why do you think he's going to get consistent, action fantasy-wise, consistent fantasy points down the season?
Well, because he's just the alpha dog, man.
Yeah, but he hasn't really had great
That's
points.
the one thing. He hasn't had a big breakout game yet. I think it's going to come. I think it will happen. I think the way the team is playing right now, and maybe this is just more belief in the Panthers that they're not going to be this team all season. There's going to be some shifting. There's going to be some changing. Whether that's a change somewhere on the offense, whether it's a change at quarterback, I don't know. But I think Tet's going to be the one consistency through all of it, where he's going to keep getting those opportunities, and eventually he's a good enough talent to where he's going to break out.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel on it.
No, that makes sense.
It's nothing against Egbuka.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like, no, I get what you're saying. Like, no matter how bad their team is, Tet is the guy that's going to be looked at because he's, you know, he's their guy. He's their high draft pick this year, and he's just really good. He's got consistent hands and everything. So I see what you're saying. I'll be interested to see it play out. You know, maybe we'll come back to this and see who.
We'll definitely see within like 4 to 6 weeks. Maybe our opinion will completely change on this.
Exactly.
But let's move on to our next question here. This one I'm really excited about. Would you rather do the draft strategy of the 0 running backs or 0 wide receivers? These are some draft strategies that like very bold fantasy football players like to do, where they will go through an entire draft and be like, okay, in this draft, I'm 0 running backs, and I'm just going to focus on all other positions. Or I'm 0 wide receivers, and I'm going to focus on everything else.
Yeah.
If you had to choose one, what would be the strategy that you would choose? Because I think I have one in mind.
Yeah. I could go first this time.
Yeah, go for it.
If that's all right. Okay, cool. I think, and this is just like what's worked for me this season, because I did this strategy this season, and I stand by it.
Yeah.
I did 0 wide receivers, or I would do 0 wide receivers. Like, I guess I didn't do completely 0 wide receivers, but
you honed in on running backs.
I honed in like my first 3 or 4 picks in most of my drafts were running backs. And I think it's panned out for me, because if you can get 3 really good running backs, and you have that flex spot filled with a good running back. Like, for example, one of my leagues, I drafted Bijan, Robinson, Bucky Irving, and then James Cook. And James Cook's my flex, bro. Okay, he's the number 1 running back in the league right now. So I just think it makes more sense, because I think if you could, first of all, there are less good running backs. Okay.
Yeah.
There are more statistically, I mean, just in general, there are more wide receivers, because wide receivers play in sets of 3s on teams, right? So there's more chance for a potential late round breakout than versus the fact that there's 1 running back per team starting, right? And most teams, let 1 running back handle all the work. So it just makes more sense to me in the long run. I'm curious to know your thoughts.
I actually agree.
Yeah.
I think the same. I'd rather do a 0 wide receiver, even though in most of my drafts, what I end up doing is this season especially, I got like star running back. Usually my first pick, I'd go running back.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it's like my first and second pick, and then I'd focus the rest on wide receivers.
Yeah.
But if I were given the choice between the two, I'd go 0 wide receivers, because I think it's a lot easier to find those guys on the waiver wire.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier.
There's more.
Because there's so many more options, and there's so many different opportunities and positions that open up from injuries and changing offenses. It's a lot harder to get running backs because of the demand.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a demand for top running backs, and look at what's happened like this season with Trey Benson. On wide receivers, there's always like a couple wide receivers every week that you could get from the waiver wire. There's only 1 Trey Benson.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to fight for him.
Everybody's going to go for him.
And it sucks.
Yeah. No, I
think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think there's a way you could do, 0 running backs, at least in large part, up front, zero running backs.
Yeah.
And that's just simply taking, but it's more of a risk. If you
It's
take,
relying on injuries.
it's relying on injuries to take handcuffs like Trey Benson, like, Quinshon Judkins, like Joe Mixon, who would potentially come back. All those guys you could get really late, and but you're basically waiting on them,
Yeah.
and they may not even hit the way you suspect. So, yeah, I think running backs are the way to go.
We got a guy in one of our dynasty leagues who followed this strategy to a T. Basically, his first 3 picks in a dynasty draft were Saquon Barkley, Bijan Robinson, and Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't even know how he got them all within 3 rounds.
Jeez,
But
that's insane.
he fell within that, and that's not even just the start of it. In later rounds, he picked up Bucky Irving late in the draft, so now he has 4 top running backs.
Bro,
Jake,
who's he
this is in
playing
our
with?
dude. This is family dynasty, Jake.
No.
And then in the first round of the draft this year, he's like, I'm just gonna double down, and he drafted Cam Scattaboo. So now he has 5 starting running backs in Dynasty, and I went up against him this week, and it was over before it even began. He's projected like 40 more points than me.
Yeah, that league's a little crazy, though. I'm not gonna lie. We're playing with some
that league
people
is
that don't draft very well.
but that league is crazy. But that might also sway a little bit in my decision of like, oh yeah, I'd go all running backs. You can dominate with all running backs.
Oh yeah, he's killing it. And then what? You have a starting running back on your bench. You can get,
and he won't trade him.
If you
That's
need
the worst
really
part.
Good wide receiver, you could get a really good one for a decent running back. Like, that's the thing. Everyone needs running backs.
And he won't trade him. That's the worst part of it. He won't give him to anybody else because he knows he wants all of it to himself.
Yeah, I know.
Which is insane. But bottom line, definitely would do the 0 wide receiver strategy.
Yeah, I think it makes the most sense, and there really are like so many sleepers on both sides, later in the season. But like I was saying, like, it is risky to go with sleepers wide receiver wise. It's risky to go with sleepers running back wise. But
there's just an abundance at receiver versus
if you can get
running back.
Exactly. Since there's more wide receivers, statistically there's just more that's going to be available.
Yeah.
On the waiver wire or whatever. So yeah, makes sense.
I think we can move on here. Talking about running backs. Here's another rest of season. Would you rather Trey Benson or Javonte Williams? Ooh. This question's actually a lot tougher than I thought it would be.
It is.
Because I have to give Javonte credit where it's due. He's continuing to like defy the expectation of what we thought he could do this year. But man, Trey Benson. And maybe there is a lot of just general excitement around him. 3rd round pick of the draft last year. But when the team gives him an opportunity, I see Trey Benson as someone he can really run. He's going to get a lot of pass catches out of the backfield.
He looks explosive.
And I know it didn't look too great in his first game against Seattle, but that was a whole offense just struggling to get going.
Yeah, and Seattle has a good defense, so.
Yeah. I think rest of season, I think the ceiling is higher for Benson than it is for Williams.
Dang.
So personally, I would take the risk. I would go Trey Benson.
Dang.
I would. I'm sorry. Okay. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Javonte Williams will be the Chuba Hubbard of this season, and he will continue to prove people wrong. But that's just how I feel.
No, I completely understand that. And I agree with you. I think he does have a lot of potential. And this is where it's funny that we're, again, going opposite directions here.
Yeah.
And I'll explain why. I mean, I think Javonte has more upside just from what I've seen. And I have both Trey Benson and Javonte in leagues, so I would like to think I'm not totally biased.
Yeah.
Because I have them both. So I just think that it seems like the Cowboys are really using Javonte. Like the amount of carries he's getting a game is kind of crazy. He got 20 this last game against Green Bay. I mean, it was a crazy game, so that was kind of an outlier number of carries, but consistently he's gotten over 10 easily a game. And I think they see him as the goal line guy. So he's getting those touchdowns, and I like that, you know? I don't think he's the most consistent. Like, I would rather have Trey Benson's consistency because I think Trey Benson's got maybe better vision and a little bit more explosiveness than Javonte. But the fact that they're using Javonte like this much makes me think that they found their guy. Okay, they're not even looking to their backups. Like they drafted a running back, the Cowboys, Jayden Blue, not even using him. Like he's not even.
Well, to be fair, he's been hurt for a majority of it.
He has. I think he's back now, though. I think he's been back for a couple of games. He's just been inactive because the coaches are so set on Javonte. At least that's what I was looking at. But yeah. So that's just my thing with Javonte, and I think that Trey Benson is just a bit more of a risk because we haven't really seen what he's like an entire game. Also, this last game against Seattle, the fact that Amari DeMarcado, a lot of people aren't going to want to hear this because they're like, Amari DeMarcado's not going to do anything. Like, he's not the guy. Well, okay, then why did he get that touchdown? And the fact that they were kind of using him, putting him in there, I feel like they're going to do not necessarily a split back system, but, that's if they throw him in there every now and again, that's still more competition Trey Benson has than Javonte has because there's no one else in the backfield there. So
I will take your point and I will counterpoint with saying Miles Sanders for Javonte Williams.
Okay, I guess. But Miles Sanders hasn't cut into Javonte's touchdowns.
No, really. That's fair. I think on a Cardinal side, DeMarcado is probably going to be like what Rachaad White is to Bucky Irving. Like Trey Benson is still the guy, but DeMarcado will still get some looks here and there, and he might get a couple touchdowns, and he might upset you as a fantasy owner.
Yeah.
But I think, but it's still clear who the guy is.
Oh, for sure. And another thing I think is better for Javonte this year than previous years is just the fact that he's on a team with a really good O-line. Like, the Cowboys have a really good O-line, bro. And it's opening up spots for Javonte to go. He's ripping some like decent runs each game because of that O-line. And I think that's the difference. Like, I don't think the Cardinals have a very good team.
I can agree on that. I don't think their team is that great.
That's just why I think Trey Benson's going to struggle. Like, could he be the saving grace on the team? Like, there's so much more the team, the Cardinals need than just, a really good running back. They had that with James Conner.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean,
it's just one of those things. I think
I don't want to say he could fill James Conner's shoes, is what I'm saying. Like, that those are big shoes to fill. James Conner's good.
This is another one where we need time to tell. Because I think Trey Benson's going to have much better games in front of him. And we'll see if Javonte Williams is able to keep this pace up throughout the majority of the season.
intriguing would you rather, pretty interesting competition to see. Yeah.
Let's move on to the next question here. I can't read it too well. Here we go. Would you rather have, and this is if you're going into fantasy championships, would you rather have 5 straight years of second place finishes? So like if you go to the Super Bowl, but you lose the Super Bowl every year, or have 1 fantasy win and 4 straight last place finishes. And I would like to go first on this one.
All right, go ahead.
Because this one's tough. This one actually is tough for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
I would actually go with the second place. Because I know some people wouldn't want that because of the narrative surrounding, like, especially if it's one with your friends. Be like, oh, you can't get the job done.
Yeah.
You can't get the big win, the big game. Well, I'll tell you right now. Maybe there might be a bit more bias if your league has a fantasy punishment for last place. If not, for me, I would still prefer second place just because there would be something soul crushing about getting last place that many years where you would just lose it. At least for me, I have fun doing fantasy as long as I'm doing well. If I'm doing like relatively well and getting close to the end every year, to me that's
the fun.
That's the fun of it, is that you want to get at least far enough. Of course you want to win.
Yeah. That's the goal, but I see.
Especially as someone who's now giving out advice to people, it would look really bad if I kept finishing every year in dead last and being like, "Oh, we're here to do a fantasy football channel."
And honestly, I think this is a tough question. Just because I feel like it depends on how you look at it, right? Are we talking, if we're talking redraft leagues, I think it would suck to be last every year and then win first one year. Like for 4 years last. That's
but
like
Dynasty, it would create a great story.
Away. But Dynasty, I think, it changes the narrative up because those 4 last place finishes could mean that you're like tanking to get your entire team ready for years to come. Like that 1 first place could be the start of Dynasty. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, it could be. It could also be the first year got first place and then every year after that is downhill.
Yeah.
Like you went out and you got a bunch of old guys and you're like, I got the championship team, and then they all retire or lose it the next season.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, oh crap.
And then you have to rebuild. But either way, like your 4 last place finishes, those seem like if you have 2 last place finishes in a row, you're rebuilding. That's like a fact.
Yeah.
Like you're either rebuilding or you're like,
or you're just sitting in the sand.
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense either way. Like, so I guess, yeah, that's why I don't know. For me, I think you're right. Generally speaking, though, I guess.
Dude, I flip-flopped on this a couple of times, but I think this is the decision I made.
Yeah. Also look at it like, if I'm putting money in the league, you know, if you're getting second place for 5 years, you're getting a lot more money than
that also depends though, because some leagues just do a winner takes all pot.
Well, yeah, but I guess we don't in any of my leagues, so
I guess it depends on it's a hard question. I guess it just depends on what league it is you're in, who's in your league, what do you get for first, what do you get for last. There's a lot of factors here. For me, with all those factors put in, I'd still choose second place.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Yeah.
I think all those factors aside, like finishing second place for 5 years is actually really respectable.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's harder to do than winning first place, you know, every few years or every couple years, like second place for 5 years. I don't know. So I'm with you. Yeah, I think that's a good one.
I think so too.
Nice.
I think we have another rest of season question. This one's one of my favorite ones. Who would you rather have rest of season? Quentin Johnston, Keenan Allen, or Ladd McConkey?
Oh, dang.
So when these three receivers came in, the offense is great because they're a trio of wide receivers that work super well together. But it looks like within this, they're all getting around similar amount of targets, but they all have their own strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
I think after this week, it made it a little bit easier to decide between these three. But I have sort of a ranking in mind of how I have it right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I do too. All right, let's hear what you think.
I would have it ranked as, if I had to choose between one, I'd choose Quentin Johnston.
Yeah.
And then if Quentin Johnston, I would choose Keenan Allen and then Ladd.
Yeah.
And the reason I would have it that way is because something happened. Something clicked this season once Keenan Allen joined the team, where we thought it was going to go one way. Like, oh, it was going to bury some of the lower guys on the chart, and it's just going to be him and Ladd. No. What's actually happened is I think it's helped Quentin Johnston in his third year be like, okay, the pressure's off. I'm now not the top focused guy. There's now two other guys that people are going to focus on.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to look like the first round talent I was meant to be when I was drafted.
Yeah, exactly.
He looks like a top athlete. Dude's getting all these great deep shots. He's got hands.
Yeah.
He's got hands now.
Decent hands.
And he's making every big play. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, man, it's touchdowns too. He's just consistently producing on every play. And there are some plays where you watch him and he just like breaks 4 tackles and just
that's
runs.
the thing. Yeah. Dude,
that's what's crazy.
That is what's crazy. And they're giving him the ball because of that. I think I also agree. And I think that's like honestly the general consensus. If you look at it from a fantasy production perspective this year, Quentin Johnston's been the best.
Yeah.
A little bit better than Keenan Allen.
Who's also been very good.
Who has also been very good. And Ladd's kind of, taking a little bit of a backseat to these guys. And it is interesting because that was not how people were, expecting it to go.
Yeah.
But I've always kind of been a Quentin Johnston guy, to be honest. Because I
sometimes by force.
Sometimes by force, but I drafted him in a dynasty league. You know this, Kyle.
Yeah, and I know it.
Yeah, I have to I didn't want to sell him for cheap because I drafted him in the first round of a rookie draft. Like I had to. And it's sad, but now it's making sense not only to me but all the haters out there that were trying to get him for like a third round or whatever. Like, forget the drops, man. They keep going to this guy because once he actually has the ball in his hand, he's a yards after catch guy, bro. He's a yak dude. And that's why he's good. That is why he's legit.
Hey, Jake, don't worry about that. You're just ahead of your time. They just needed a few years to catch up to your genius.
100%. And now everyone's like, oh, Jake, like, I see you right on for keeping with Quentin, all this stuff.
Yeah.
But anyways, to say, like, he's just good. It sucks for Ladd though, I think.
And I think I know why it's happened to Ladd. Because what I saw from Ladd last season was, first of all, he's not really a touchdown guy. Mm-hmm. That wasn't what he was the best at last season. He got only a handful of touchdowns, but he was more, I'm going to get a lot of catches on a lot of targets and get a lot of yards.
Yeah.
He was a catches and yards versus pure touchdowns. So it doesn't shock me that like Quentin Johnston, Keenan Allen have taken over those parts of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is, if he's not getting touchdowns and his total targets are being tested by Keenan Allen now coming in, being
Yes.
Justin Herbert's old favorite target, and now he's seeing him a lot on third downs and looking to see where he is when he needs the short yardage.
Yeah.
It's ultimately a couple different things that has compounded on top of Lad McConkey that's really hurt his value, kind of made him just sort of look like an average wide receiver.
Yeah.
Through no fault of his own, because we all know he's very talented. It's just, unless an injury happens, this is kind of the role it's going to be in. He'll still have some good games here or there, but it seems like these guys are going to be the first looks for bigger production and bigger plays.
Yeah. And you know what makes sense? It makes sense now that it's finally working, but like, I don't know, the faith that Jim Harbaugh and even Justin Herbert had in Quentin Johnston, like,
he's one of the best coaches. He's just undeniably, he's one of the best coaches.
Yeah.
In 2 years, he's completely changed the image of this team.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome to see not just from a fantasy perspective, but from a
fan perspective,
overall fan team perspective. Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah. It's always been super cool to see.
Oh yeah.
All right. We got another question here. This one's a little bit, this one's kind of fun. Would you rather have a team of great injury-prone players or have a team of just good, fully healthy players? I think for this, we have to sort of get a better understanding of what's good versus great. So I guess the way to think of it is, imagine if you had a team of players that were all like top 5 to top 10 at their position, but they all get injury-prone a lot, versus a team where it's like everybody's like top 15 to top 20. But they're all healthy.
Yeah.
I have an answer already.
Oh, yeah. No, I wrote this question. I got an answer.
Hey, man, give me the injury-prone guys.
Dang, okay.
I would.
Wow.
I've always been a guy that's preached consistency, and I like players that can give you a smaller amount.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. If they're all just like good but not great, there's no easier way to lose a fantasy game than not having any great players.
Sure.
You do need some balance of like great players, even if they're injury prone.
Yeah.
I would rather take the risk on the injury prone team and hope that the injuries are just not all at the same time and just rework around that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, I think when you're comparing the players like that, if you read into this question a little bit more, it's all about how you set up your team, right? Like,
yeah.
Because I agree with you. I'd rather have great injury prone players, but then set up my team to where I have handcuffs for these guys.
Yeah.
So that, any week comes and like a week comes and a couple guys get injured and they're out, whatever, few weeks, even rest of this season. I have the Trey Benson to James Conner. I have those, but you have to, I feel like you would have had to reach for some of those guys if you really wanted them in drafts, just so that they don't get snatched. But because those are the top tier handcuffs we're talking about.
Yeah.
The ones to injury prone guys. So yeah, I agree with you.
I think wholeheartedly. There's not too much, because it's such a broad question. There's not too much to like dissect here. But I think I'd take the chance with higher upside if every player was stuck at like a ceiling.
Yeah. I feel like, a team of good, fully healthy players, there's not a lot to work with there. Like, what is good and how much potential are we talking?
Yeah.
Like, I think it is kind of a gray area. I think if it were more specific, like up and coming players, young up and coming good players, maybe, or something along those lines, it could be a different outcome, but yeah, just good healthy players.
But we would have to see on that.
Yeah.
Here's another one. This is not necessarily rest of season. This is more of a dynasty question. Who would be your dynasty QB if you had the choice between Drake Maye or Jayden Daniels?
Mm.
And I think I have an answer here that I think goes against the grain a little bit. Because I think most people would still choose Jayden Daniels after the big rookie season that he had.
Let me guess. Let me guess. None of the above. Tua Tagovailoa. Is it that guy? You're crazy, bro.
What if I just completely swerved and just went back to Jayden Daniels?
Yeah, and then you swerve again. Then you go back to
I'm thinking Drake Maye, and this might be more of a personal thing because I always really liked Jayden Daniels, but I never loved him as much as some other people. I always thought he was great, but I was never like ready to be like, oh, absolute future of the league, top 3 fantasy quarterback. I was like, okay, he's definitely in that like top 5 conversation, but let's see what happens here. Drake Maye was a guy that I was actually super excited when I watch him. It's just always been tough because he's been on such a bad team for, most of his young career. But I'm watching a player that feels like he's carrying his team to every good play that they have on offense.
Dang.
That's just what I feel. Like,
oh yeah, it shows. It shows.
He has an underrated running ability too. So to me, he's like a guy where it's like he kind of has it all. It remains to be seen of how good the team can be, like how far can he push himself to be that great. But if we're talking strictly fantasy, I'm loving what I'm seeing from him just being on an under average football team.
Yeah. Yeah, it almost helps his case.
Yeah.
It's pushing him to produce. Yeah, I like that perspective. This question's actually really hard for me too. And it's almost kind of unfair because I almost view these guys exactly the same because
they're so similar.
They're in the same draft class. They're like, this is their second year, and they're both like, Drake Maye's having a good year this year, and he wasn't last year, but Jayden Daniels had a good year last year. Great, stellar year. And this year he's not. I would have to go with Jayden only because I think I see his upside.
And you can see like the highs he's already hit.
Exactly. And we're talking dynasty, right?
Yeah.
I see his upside, especially if the team gets better. If they start clicking more, like some of their wide receivers, and I don't know, different aspects, but I think I like his run game better than Drake Maye's. And that's just huge in fantasy. I think I pull similarities from Lamar simply because he's the best running QB in the league, and Jayden Daniels is like right up there.
Yeah.
Hasn't looked great this season, but I think we've seen enough from him last season to where you could kind of see, players always have slumps, and I feel like his progression is only going to get better. But man, it's tough because I like Drake Maye a lot too.
It's tough. I like both. I think for me, it's just I love seeing what Drake Maye has done with less.
Yeah.
And you can argue the same about Jayden Daniels when he first came in first season as well. Because he didn't have a lot around him, but he made the most out of it all. I think it is super tough, but so maybe it does come down to bias of just I love watching Drake Maye play.
Yeah.
And all the stuff he can do.
Yeah. I agree. I love a good underdog situation too. Like the fact that this is happening this year to Drake Maye makes me like him so much more to like.
Because this is not also a recency bias thing. This is not just looking at what he's done this season. I think a lot of people saw the potential last year for as bad as the team was.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I looked at it, it's like if he can just get an ounce of that, and we're starting to see it now, of just a guy that he's not surrounded by much, but man, is he awesome every week.
Yeah. No, that's so true. I think an interesting comparison in the future, or even a guy that could be thrown in here too is Bo Nix, because they're all similar. Like he had a stellar year last year. Anyways, getting ranting, but yeah.
It's a long-term one. I mean, this draft class does have a lot of QBs, so we'll see where all of them fall a couple of years from now.
Right. It's so interesting to watch.
Yeah. Got another question here. Would you rather have the number 1 QB or the number 1 tight end? If you had the choice between the number 1 at both of these positions, in terms of building your team, what would you rather choose?
I mean, I'd much rather have the number 1 QB, to be honest.
I thought about this for a little bit, and I almost went with the number 1 tight end, but then I did look back at it. It's like, it really does depend on who's the number 1 QB at that time. Because if it's Lamar of last year, I'd take Lamar. He was just to a point where he was unstoppable, and he would single-handedly carry a team to greatness.
That's the thing. Yeah. I think that's what sets them apart. Like, we talk about Brock Bowers from last year, and it could be different. I think that the tight ends this year are slightly more
there's a bit more depth this year.
There's more depth for sure. And there's also less like discrepancies in production. I feel like Brock Bowers is not putting it out of the water every game like he was last year.
He's kind of just been like bang average starting tight end so far this year.
Yeah. And there's a lot of guys like that.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk more about that. I think maybe I thought more in previous seasons of like there was such a difference between the great tight ends.
Right.
Because it was only like 2, maybe 3 a season, and then everyone else, the gap is so wide.
Yeah.
Whereas with quarterbacks, even if you don't get the top guy, there's usually a good chunk of great quarterbacks that can still prop up your team very well.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's just like having Lamar or Josh Allen every week
is a
and
game
every
changer.
Week them getting you like almost 30 points is kind of crazy. Like if you look at it compared to a tight ends, top points maybe like 15, 20. There's a difference.
Because that's mostly in the draft. You see the number 1 QB and the number 1 tight end kind of go around the same. They're in the same round, usually around the same time.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what you're going to sacrifice to build your team.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just one of those things.
Yeah, that's a fun question, though.
Yeah. We got one last question here.
Let's do it.
And it's going to be, would you rather win a fantasy championship or your team wins the Super Bowl? Ooh. I feel like I don't even have to think about this one.
Yeah. Should we say it at the same time?
It depends. What are we going to say? just like the full name of the full,
let's just do either team or fantasy.
Okay. How about either Super Bowl or fantasy?
Okay.
Okay, on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Super Bowl.
Okay. There we go. I mean, this just depends on how much of a football fan you are. If you're more of just a fantasy guy, maybe you just want the championship and you don't follow a specific team.
Nah, dude. I feel like that's not a thing, though, man. If you're into fantasy, you're into football.
You're into football overall, but you might not have a team.
You're right. Yeah.
But if you do have a team though, if you have a team, this is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
The
It's a no-brainer.
The immortality you feel when you win a Super Bowl is unlike anything else out there.
It's like, here's the thing. You go your whole life, most people who are attached to teams are attached at a young age. You're not playing fantasy, when you're 6. You're rooting for whatever team your dad's rooting for, or whatever team you pick when you're young. Like, that's the difference. So
it's the joy of being something bigger than yourself.
Exactly. I think when it comes down to money, though, I could see it being tough. Like, if you're like, oh, dude, I get this huge trophy and I get like $500 because the pot's like huge or whatever.
Yeah. Or like $1,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, but also like, that's your team, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Do you want to be able to wear your like team's merch with pride, or do you want to just like not really wear it? I don't know. But I think if you're a fan, and we are fans, Seahawk fans, represent, dude. Yeah, you gotta cheer for that Super Bowl, man. That's what football is all about.
Dude, you gotta do it.
Yeah.
I can't see it any other way. That is the last of our questions here. And before we go, we're going to get into some quick waiver wire options for week 5 coming up here. There are a few to look out for, so let's just go through them very quickly. We have at quarterbacks, I'd say Jackson Dart and Matthew Stafford. Stafford has shown to be one of the more consistent QBs over the last month of the season. Doesn't matter what team he's facing, he usually does pretty well. Jackson Dart.
Oof.
He took a real gut punch there with losing.
Good.
He looks good.
But you're right.
He lost Malik Neighbors, but
yeah,
the amount of running ability that he showed, the moxie that this guy's got, I'm willing to keep him as like a lower end QB sleeper option if you needed a guy this week.
Exactly. His rushing ability, dude. The fact that he ran it in for that time, that play was nice.
Dude, that was nice. And we'll make sure to get more in depth with him because I feel like there's a lot to talk about. On the running back side, Woody Marks had a big day, and it looks like he's going to take over in that backfield for the foreseeable future. Should be the big running back to get. Bashaw Tootin is still out there. Even though he didn't have a great game this time around, I think long term you should hold on to him and stash him over time.
Yep.
On the wide receiver end, Alec Iamaner still out there.
Getting targets.
As well as with Chigokonkwo, and I'll just mention both of them together because if you're worried about last week, don't be. I told everybody that you shouldn't play them. It was going to be a bad game. But they have shown to be the most consistent targets for the Titans going forward, and I think those roles have a chance to continue to grow. So check them out, buy into them. Dobbs.
Definitely. Dude, and Dobbs is on a lot of waiver wires.
And you know what? It's an automatic rule that I have to put someone on this list when they get 3 touchdowns. That's just it happened with Trey Tucker last week. It's happening with Dobbs this week. Look, I've talked about enough of how I'm not a huge fan of Dobbs, but yeah, he got a 3 touchdown game. I wouldn't be upset with anyone getting him on the waiver wire.
I know. He's a fine stash. Like with Jayden Reed out, it seems like he's got the most. It seems like he's the number 1 target, I guess, in this last game for Jordan Love, and consistently he's been doing fairly well. So yeah, he's good.
Just one of those things. And Brenton Strange. Still out there, guys. What do I gotta do?
I know.
What do I gotta do to spread the word that Brenton Strange is a good fantasy target? And with a couple tight ends on bye this week, he should be a good start of a lower end tight end one to start this week.
And
that should be it right there, man. That's the end of this episode. Thank you so much for watching. You can follow us on Instagram, X, TikTok. You can listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Jake, anything you want to say before we go off the air?
I just want to say thank you for everyone who tuned in. This was a fun episode. I think so. Do you think so, Kyle?
I like this episode, and
cool.
I hope everybody that watched this, that got to this point, hope you liked it as well.
Exactly.
We're starting to see more and more views and more people checking out our videos, and it's really cool to see. And if you like this, please check out some of our other videos. Subscribe if you like. We're gonna keep making them.
And drop a comment. We're responding. It is literally our mission in life to do a few things. And follow Jesus first off. Unashamed.
God, family, football.
God, family, football, and in that football, there's this podcast, and anyways, I'm getting at the fact that if you put a comment in there, we will respond. Kyle or
absolutely.
Mainly Kyle most of the time. He's got a response. And that's all I was going to say. But yeah.
No, of course. All right. In a complex fantasy world, don't overthink it. Just keep it simple.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.